हाँ मैम, हाँ म्यूट है। मैंने रिकॉर्डिंग ऑन कर दी है। हाँ, किसको? लोबियाल सर को बोला? हाँ हाँ, आई रिक्वेस्ट लोबियाल सर टू स्टार्ट द सेशन। हाँ ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है। हाँ हाँ, ठीक है, ठीक है। हाँ ओके मैम। हाँ
Welcome to Principal Sir. Just sir, within 5 minutes we are starting the program.
हाँ मैम, हाँ बिल्कुल क्लियर है।
Good evening, sir. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, good evening.
Within 5 minutes, we will start, sir.
Okay, okay. No.
गुड इवनिंग सर। Good evening, sir.
Good evening, madam.
Ganesh sir, should we start?
Ma'am, 25 participants, ma'am. Right now. Can we wait 1 or 2 minutes?
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Principal sir has already joined.
Principal sir, vice principal ma'am,
Yes,
the
yes.
dean sir, HOD, EC, HOD, WE, others.
So we wait for another 2 minutes. Good evening, Yogendra sir.
Good evening, Rendra sir.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, madam.
Ma'am, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Madam, namaskar.
Good evening, ma'am.
Namaskar. Good
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Servant.
Sir,
ममता मैम आपका शायद कैमरा ना टिल्टेड है मैम शायद.
ममता मैम, हाँ, अभी
Yes,
हाँ
yes.
अभी सही है।
अभी ओके मैम,
Now
अभी ओके मैम.
Principal sir has joined, Ganesh?
हाँ, yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Principal
Yes,
sir
ma'am.
is
Okay.
principal join.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Sir, your mic is muted.
Good evening, sir. Principal sir, should we start?
Good evening, sir. Please unmute, sir. Unmute.
Now,
Now is audible, sir. Fine, sir. Now.
so we can start if all of you are ready and in agreement.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, sir.
evening,
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So we are starting the inaugural session. To introduce latest trends and research in field of WSN and IoT, and to enrich the knowledge of faculty members with eminent personalities from industry and academia, Department of EC is organized 2-week faculty development program from 2nd January to 13 January 2023 on integration of WSN and IoT for agriculture, sponsored by AICT Training and ATAL Academy. Good evening to one and all present here. On behalf of Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, I, Dr. Chaya Dalila, coordinator of this ATAL FDP, welcomes you all on this 2-week faculty development program. Respected Principal Sir, Dr. Amarjeet Singh, Vice Principal Madam, Dr. Mamta TG, today's resource person, Professor Dr. D.K. Lobial Sir from JNU, HOD Sir, Dr. Arun Ji, Dean Academics, HODs of various departments, all participant faculty members from various institutes. Welcome once again for this 2-week faculty development program. Now, to start the inaugural ceremony, I now request Ganesh sir to play the Lighten the Lamp and Vandana.
या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसारपरमाम् आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधतीं पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदाम् या कुन्ती
Okay, ma'am, you can
Thank you
continue.
thank you very much. Now, may I request to Principal Sir, Dr. Amarjit Singh, to address the group of intellectuals, our participants, dear faculty members from various AICT affiliated institutes. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Firstly, good evening to all of you. And on behalf of our JSS Academy of Technical Education, Noida, I wish a very, very happy New Year. And let the God bless us all. And we do wonderful research, academia, and the benefit to the students and the building the nation in a whatever the best contribution we can give. Coming to today's topic, this FDP for 2 weeks from the agriculture. As all of you are aware, this country economy is based on the agriculture still. So whatever the best use of that these coming latest technology can provide some what you can say a development to the agriculture when the productivity of this agriculture segment can increase with the help of this advanced technological advancement in the world all over. Various western countries are using their technology for the agriculture, especially Israel. So I wish this 2 weeks faculty development program will give some alignment of these new and the best of this sector. On behalf of all, I as a principal of JSS, HOD of our department, all deans, directors, all other HOD, all faculty, I wish this particular 2 weeks FDP a very, very successful in the coming 2 weeks. And I appeal everybody to give their best, and I appeal everybody to listen carefully this particular whatever our intellectuals are putting across these various technology, especially IOT and WSN. So I wish this particular FDP a success and a very, very useful to the all the technocrats, all the academicians who are involved in it. Again, I personally thank the HOD of EC department and the various coordinator and the other faculty to make to this happen, and credit to the captain and the team of the department. On behalf of everybody, His Holiness, all our seniors as JSS Meshuru, our Vice Principal, Dean Academics, all HODs, I wish Department of Electronic and this Communication Engineering Department a very successful this FDP, and let this knowledge give the valuable input to the all the academician. Once again at the mess, wish all the best from my side and from all of us. I wish all the best for this particular FDP. Wish you success. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words. Now, I may request to Vice Principal Madam, Dr. T.G. Mamta, to say a few words to audience.
Thank you. Jagdish. Yeah.
Mamta madam, your voice is not audible.
Network issue.
Network issue.
Okay. Now is it audible? Audible to you?
Yes,
Yes,
madam.
yes, madam.
No. Now, at the outset, I submit my humble pranams to the lotus feet of His Holiness Shivratri Deshikina Swamiji. I seek his blessings for the successful conduction of the 2 weeks faculty development program on integration of WSN and IOT for agriculture. First of all, I congratulate HOD EC Dr. Arun Kumar and the coordinator Dr. Chaya Dalal for taking interest in organizing this program, and we should be thankful to our authoritative agency as AICTE who have given us a chance and who have a and then the program which is 18. As a vice principal, it is my duty that we are here exchanged the knowledge. So the topic what so for our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, that is Make in India, Made in India. It is going to help all the agriculture because as a this country to go in SS18 department that we can help those who are in need.
I think BP madam, lot of cracking noise and your voice is cutting in between very frequently.
Okay. Now,
Request coordinator to call ma'am
Yeah.
on the mobile and tell her she may not be.
Huh. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mamta ma'am, for your kind words. Should we proceed if you permit us to proceed?
Yes, ma'am, we can go the actual
Okay,
core
okay.
work.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
yeah,
So,
yeah, you can proceed.
now, yeah, thank you very much, sir. Very much, ma'am. So, now a small introduction about the FDP. The total registered and approved participant are faculty members, research scholars from various AICT affiliated institutes, from UP, from Maharashtra, from Karnataka, and from Bangalore. Total in 50 numbers are registered and approved participants. Now, this FDP will cover an introduction to WSN and IoT, its integration, state-of-the-art WSN algorithms, advances in IoTs and their applications, hardware and software and their uses, along with various hands-on experiments useful for agriculture. Participants, the faculty members will get the opportunity to attend sessions headed by eminent and accomplished faculty members from central universities, deemed universities from India, abroad, and organizations of national importance like Department of Telecommunication, New Delhi, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Department of Atomic Energy, Government of India, JNU, Edma University, Ethiopia, etc. Now, the today's resource person is renowned Professor Dr. D.K. Lobial sir, JNU, New Delhi. Now, I request my co-coordinator, Dr. Gayatri Sakhya, to introduce him and followed by vote of thanks.
Good evening, all. Yeah, good evening, all. So, I am here to introduce our today's speaker, Dr. D.K. Lovial. Sir, he is the professor in School of Computer and System Sciences, Jawaharlal Nehru University. He is BTech in Computer Science and Technology from IIT Lucknow in 1988. He completed his MTech in Computer Science and Technology from JNU in 1991 and PhD in Computer Science from Jawaharlal Nehru University in 1996. Immediately after completing his PhD, he joined JNU in 1997 and became professor in 2010. His field of teaching includes data communication and computer networks and wireless networks. His current research areas include wireless sensor networks, mobile ad hoc networks, natural language processing. Under his guidance, 22 PhDs and 50 MTech completed. He is co-investigator for various funded projects from government agencies like Ministry of Information Technology and AICTE. He has been a convener and co-convener for various national and international conferences and edited the course of IGNO MCA program. He has 80 plus SCI publications and 75 international conference publications. He has delivered 80 plus talks all over the world in the area of wireless sensor networks, IoT and 5G. He has various professional bodies membership like Member Computer Society of India, currently Student Coordinator Region 1, Fellow Institution of Electronics and Communication Engineers India, and Member Institution of Electrical Electronics Engineers. So this is a short introduction about our eminent speaker Dr. Professor D.K. Lovial sir. And now I just want to give a thank note to all the members who are available here. So good evening all, and thank you. I feel honored and privileged to get opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on the first day of ATAL FDP on inauguration of WSN and IOT for agriculture. I would like to thank Honorable Speaker Dr. Professor T.K. Lovial for accepting our invitation as resource person for a talk on application of 5G powered IoT in agriculture. I would like to thank Principal Sir Dr. Amarjit Singh, Vice Principal Madam Dr. Mamta TG, HOD EC Dr. Arun Kumar Ji for their constant support and help. I am thankful to participants for joining the session and request them to get the maximum benefit out of this FDP. I am also very thankful to all program organizing members for successfully joining the first day of this FDP. Now I request Professor D.K. Lovial sir to grace the session with his lecture. Thank you. Over to Ganesh sir. Yes, good morning, Sir Lovial sir. So we heartily welcome you, sir, and invite you for the session, today's session. So, sir, over to you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How do you?
So, Tikla, how long there's a break in between? What is the?
Sir, your session is from 8 to 8:50. Then there is a 10 minutes break.
From 8? It is
Sorry,
7.
7 to 7:50.
7 to 7.
7:50. Then there is a break of for 10 minutes. Then
Okay.
8 to 8:50. Then
Okay.
again 8:50 to 9 we have the break, and 9 to 9:30 we'll have the question answer session.
Okay, okay,
Thank you very much, sir.
okay. Okay, let me.
Are you able to share, sir?
I'll say. Wait.
Yes.
It's visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Make it. Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay, let me. Just 1 minute, huh?
Okay, sir.
Keep.
44 participants.
No, let me.
Okay.
थोड़ा आइडिया रहता ना.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, for inviting me to deliver the lecture on the application of 5G powered IoT agriculture. So let me be very clear in the beginning. I'm not expert on this as far as agriculture IoT is concerned. It is an introductory lecture in the sense that to set the tone for this FDP, where you may have various kind of lectures on different topics related with this area. But setting a tone is very important, because the first lecture is always setting a tone for the rest of the sessions. So what I did is I have little bit of this knowledge about IoT, and then I also talk on 5G. And then I thought, let me correlate both these things. And then, yes, everybody talks of IoT in agriculture, then we can correlate to a certain extent. That's what I thought, and probably you can get different kind of lectures later on. With this, again, I thank the organization, College University, to invite me for this. And I have not make my flow of lecture, but if you look at this lecture, it seems to be in three parts. One, you think of agriculture, and then what are the IoT application to agriculture? Then how can 5G can do it? So if you look at, you have to have some basic fundamental knowledge of 5G, so that what it is, and then what is the scenario of the agriculture, that is important. Then all you can talk of that you need to make your agriculture practices smarter, knowing that what exactly it is. And then you must know how IoT is going to make your agriculture practices and traditions smarter. And even if you do that, what are the challenges that IoT has right now, and then how those challenges can be overcome by 5G. So that's what I'll go gradually. First, let me start with how many of you know that this is very surprising fact today when I was discussing with one of my colleagues. Then only I came to know about certain facts. Then I try to put this slide in the perspective. You'll be surprised that the 38% of the land surface in the entire world is agricultural land. That's important. Right? Entire world I am talking about. And look at the size of India geographically in the world scenario. We are 7th largest country in terms of the land. Right? And out of whatever land we have got, and that 38% of that land surface in the world, sorry, not India, 38% of the total world surface is agricultural land. The rest is forest, water, whatever it is. But if you leave aside water or land surface out of that 38%, yes, I'm saying. But if you look at India, it's very quite surprising as well as interesting. The 53% of the land of India is under agriculture. Rest may be forest, and used the barren land, the desert in Rajasthan. And that's what one amazing fact. You will see that the population across India is almost well spread. You go to any part of the country, you will find that there's a lot huge population lives there. Not only that, even if you go on expressways like Agra Expressway and some other expressway, anywhere in the country, in any expressway which has been built or highways, you will find a lot huge amount of traffic is there. It is because our population is spread well across the land, because our agricultural land is spread across the country and huge, and sometimes I think we're almost close to US the percentage of land we are using for agriculture. But that's one. And and out of that 53% or total land, 42% around is irrigated land. So rest is not irrigated. So if you have all land irrigated land, our agriculture produce could have been large enough. That's what the point I am trying to make. Because agricultural land it's very, very important that how much you produce from the agriculture. And that, and if you look at the total land of the world, India only contributes 2.4% of the land India has in the world. See, if you look at US and USSR earlier, now it called Russia, China, huge countries, Brazil, they have huge land. And India only have 2.4% of the land of the entire world. And out of that 2.4%, whatever we have, and the large part of the land is being used for agriculture. That is one advantage India has got. That's what I put this slide to put in the perspective that why agriculture is more important for India, right? It may be for one. And keeping this fact in mind, if you move ahead, you will find certain important facts. One of the World Bank reports says that the world population is projected to reach 9 billion by 2050. And you might have studied the recent article sometimes back that the world population has touched 8 billion now, and by next 30 or 28 years, we will be going to be 9 billion population. It's a huge population. And few years, 10 years down the line, we used to hear that the world population is 6 billion, now 8 billion, now 9 billion. But that way it is the proportion growth is reducing, but it's still a huge population. And the major chunk of the population is from China and India. And China has a big land, but China, the agricultural land, the percentage of agricultural land in China is smaller than India. That also. So large part of the China is barren. Only coastal China is occupied by the people because there is the agricultural land. And it's a well-known fact from the beginning that people live around the agricultural land because that was the only source of food and production. And India's economic sector, agriculture contributes 14% of that also. Why I'm saying this is, look at the population and look at the agricultural land and look at our agriculture sector, which I have not put a slide. The share of the agriculture sector is not much, 14%, the rest is 35, 40, 50% in your software and so on and so forth. But the point which is being made here is, if the world population is going to be 9 billion by 2050, and it says, the World Bank report says, then you have to produce what you are producing today, 70% more than that. The food has to be produced 70% more than what you are producing. So that means from the same land, if you assume that the land is not decreasing, but if you look at I don't have a graph here, but if you look at the Indian landscape, when you got independent around 1960, 58% of the land, what I said, I've not put a slide there. Okay. This should be much more than 53, but anyway, little projection. But we started with somewhere below 50, and this agricultural land gradually increased to 61% something. Now we are around 60 and going down by this also. This 53, some says 53, some says 60, but this World Bank says different, Indian report says different. I put 53, but what I am trying to say is from mid-90s, from 1995, 96, slowly our agricultural land is also reducing because we are expanding in terms of what you call housing, SE, Z, economic zone, special economic zones. That land is being used for malls and other things. But that way, if you look, our agricultural land is also shrinking. That is the trend it shows. It is decreasing trend, and later on we may decrease more. Whereas the food requirement is going to increase by 70%. That's what it is. But what we are saying is, therefore, the food sustainability is a great challenge going to come in future. That's where the agriculture, improvement in the agriculture will become important, right? Otherwise, we would not have paid attention to agriculture. This is one of the reasons that now whatever you call that applications of 5G powered IoT or any other things towards agriculture is being paid. Looking at this data. Why? Now, the reason is why this is going to put challenge is other reason. The profits and the productivity are diminishing with the traditional methods. The traditional methods of agriculture which we have been using. Now, if you look at the productivity of the agriculture crops produced and the profit which farmers have been earning earlier is reducing. That's when if you look at the farmers strike for minimum support price, it went for years altogether. It also to certain extent that the productivity also reduces because the fertility, other factors are also important. And therefore, if the productivity is reducing, the profit from the agriculture is reducing. Therefore, people may move away from the agriculture as an occupation. So the traditional methods, as I said, are resulting into reduction in productivity and reduction in profit. And the other reason is not only traditional methods. The environmental impact is also affecting the traditional practice of agriculture. The climate change, the change in the season. There are n number of regions. That's a lot of talk on climate change. It's not only for human sustainability in terms of the temperature of the earth, but even if you are able to sustain beyond 50 degrees, but the question is, you will be able to get the agriculture product for your requirement or not. So environment is also impacting the traditional practices of agriculture. अगर आपको ध्यान होगा, many of you may have lived in the villages. I very well recall my grandmother used to say, now the constellation of stars is in this direction, therefore it is going to be rain in 2 or 3 days. Right? Because the people living in the traditional rural society used to predict the rainfall, other change in the climate based on the position of the stars in the sky. Because they have seen it earlier, it is experience knowledge, not some may call it scientific, you may not call it, but it's experience knowledge which they have got. अगर आपको याद होगा, जब हम मक्का बोते थे, when you are showing the मक्का, and before 2-3 days, the seeds of the maize has to be make wet. उसको भिगाना पड़ता था 3 दिन पहले. And बारिश होने के बाद ही बोते थे. Now you have to predict that it is going to be rain after 3 days. If you predict that after 3 days there is going to be rain, then today तभी आप मक्के को छिलके उसके बीजों को भिगोने डालेंगे. आज भिगोने डाल दें, 1 हफ्ते तक बारिश नहीं हो तो वो सड़ जाएंगे. They will get rotten. If you make it wet for a longer period of time, they will be spoiled. And if they are not wet, then they may not also grow. That's the problem. So look at, this is what the experience knowledge is. They used to predict that after 3 days it is going to rain, and before 3 days they will make their seeds of the maize wet in some pot, and then after 3 days if rains, they will sow it. This is what the traditional practice of. But the prediction used to be correct because the seasonal, the environmental impact on the season did not drift at that point out. It was almost accurate. Now you look at the climate change, the seasons have shifted. The farmers in the traditional practices are not able to predict. And that is the impact which is affecting the agriculture. Therefore, another great challenge that is also the traditional practice of agriculture is posing before the farmers and other communities. Now this is what the whole background we talk about. And now, having said this, therefore, they talk of, now today we are talking of precision agriculture, and we say that it will play a significant role in modern farm revolution. It is farm, F-A-R-M, sorry, this is missing, let me correct, then I'll forget later on. So, what does it mean now? What does precision agriculture mean? We'll talk. But if you go with the precision agriculture, it is going to significantly change role in modern farm revolution. And that means what I'm saying is that it's going to revolutionize the farming methods of farming today. And why do you want to do that? This revolution is required to increase the produce and the quality of the production. Both are important. What quality products you are going to produce, and this is what in the modern revolution now. And just 1 minute. Okay. What is this modern revolution? This precision agriculture is called a third revolution today. And why it is called third revolution? Because the first revolution in the agriculture came in 1930s when mechanization took place. All agriculture was done with big machines in Europe. India we did not have. If you look at Germany, Russia and other countries in the Europe, you will find that huge revolution came there in 30s. And what is said, if you go through the literature, it said whatever have been produced by the farmers with the first revolution, that is mechanical revolution, with that the produce increased 26 times. Means whatever is produced for one person in the same land, you have been producing for 26 people. With the modern, that time so-called modern mechanization in 1930s. That's the first revolution in agriculture. Second revolution came in 90s. That is called Green Revolution. Why it is called Green Revolution? Because we increase the productivity and quality of the crops by genetically modifying the seeds and the crops. So it is a biological change in the agriculture sector by genetically modifying crops, hybrid seeds, and then a lot of the quantity was definitely increased. And तो उससे पहले आपको याद होगा कितनी भुखमरी, you might not have seen 71. I was a small child. I have seen that famine, and then that called red bajra, that maize was imported from US, and people in the villages were supplied with the red bajra, and that too is rationed. इतने किलो एक family को मिलता था. See, this is how. That's why the Green Revolution came to genetically modify the crops. And now this is called technology-based revolution, that the agriculture will be enabled with the technology. That is what precision agriculture is. This is called the third revolution and modern farm revolution. That's what. It will play a significant role. It will minimize the input required for the agriculture. What kind of input you need? Fertilizers, right? And the seed value, the seed you need, the fertilizer you need, maybe other things you need. It will minimize the input, the right? And the time sustainability. This will be reduced. How much time it needs for certain activities, that will also be reduced. So the activity which you are doing in many days may be reduced by using this technology. But at the same time, it will maximize productivity and profit. That is what the precision agriculture will do. Right? It is going to increase or maximize the productivity and profit. Then only people will be attracted towards farming. That's the part. Also, the precision agriculture will ensure sustainability and reduce environmental impact. I said the environmental impact is going to adversely impact the traditional practices. But with the precision agriculture, probably you may be able to reduce the impact of the environment on the agriculture practices. and ensure suitability. Uh, ensure sustainability is some auto. When you write, it takes auto correction or right, and okay, and reduce environmental impact on this. Ensure sustainability means what we said in the first, that the 70% food requirement is going to increase by 70%. What today is in 2050. So this can also sustain towards that. That's what we are saying. Ensure sustainability. Right. Now, having said this, what is precision farming? That's important part. If you go the definition book, I have copied it. It said a technology-enabled approach to farming management that observes, measures, and analyzes the need of individual fields and crops. Right? What is needed to a crop? What is needed in a field? If you observe the current situation and measure the values of various parameters in that, and then analyze what solution you must provide to the individual field and to the crop using the technology, that's what is called precision farming or precision agriculture. Now this is what is leading towards IoT. The moment it's a technology enabled approach, that means you have to bring a lot of things into picture, and that's what also we call smart farming. Right? And or precision farming, whatever you call, is what is it? Combining traditional farming practices with ICT, information and communication technology, to enhance the farm produce and quality. Right? Whatever you are producing, you can enhance that, and the quality of the crop and food should also be improved. Which quality means in terms of the nutrient value. Right? If you can improve the quality of the crops or the vegetables, whatever it is, in terms of the nutrient value and quantity also, that is what is called smart farming, or precision agriculture can also be said the same way. So what does this ICT includes now? Will a wide range of products in agriculture: robotics, sensors, actuators, drones, GPS enabling. All these should be used in the ICT used in ICT and combined with what you call farm produce and quality. With the farming practices. Now this also is the 5G technology is the latest inclusion in that. If you can include 5G technology in that, it will make it better. That's what the whole idea is. Similarly, this is smart farming. That means what I am saying is IoT in agriculture is smart farming. Right? Whether you call it smart farming or you call IoT, it all seems to be in the same direction, not much difference. That's what the devices, again, it's almost repetition, that smart agriculture sensors. It could be measuring the soil quality, how much irrigation water you need, water to irrigate, and what is the amount of fertilizer you need to a field. And how do you do that? Now, if you look at the remote sensing, and that is the satellite imagery, is very, very useful to look at a region, particular region. where you have what do you call high precision photographs or images, which are important to identify the areas and their location, the vegetation category there, and then you can see what are the different patterns. And GPS enabled, that means we should be able to uh, identify the locations also, regions, and then you can put sensors there, you can put what do you call observes through the drones. All right, drones can be used for multiple purposes. This is what we are going to say that what is IoT. And the other thing is, what do you do with the IoT? It is used for real-time data collection. Right? If you have practical sessions there, you will see that generally they come with a kit. आएंगे अपना Raspberry Pi या आपको Arduino दिखाएंगे, and you put some sensors on that and measure certain value and program करके दिखा देते. It's a beginning of IoT, and that's it. If really it is IoT, it is going to help you. That's the question. So what do? You collect real-time data through the IoT, because you have a soil sensor. We'll give you the maybe pH value of a soil. It is more acidic, more basic, or it is a balance of that. If it is more acidic, you have to reduce that. If it is more basic, you have to, So what I'm trying to say is, you can have a soil sensors. You can measure the pH value of sensor, and a soil may have how much nitrogen is in the soil. Is very important. How much other things are there. That means what I'm saying is, the sensors may measure the biological and physical characteristic of a farm or a land, and the biological, physical, and chemical. Right? A chemical, it may look at the different values, the nitrogen dioxide there, nitrogen, and the phosphorus, right, are very important for agriculture. And then, all right, you can have other things. Then you can have the water level. What is the water level sensors? A crop, what kind of a crop is suitable in these conditions? So you collect data, and what is any disease the crop has got. So you can collect the data about a crop. कि वहाँ कीड़ा लग गया. Is there an overdose of a fertilizer? Is there a lower dose of fertilizer? Because what happened is, when people started with the urea, they put, that's what we can say the variable rate applications. One of the important application in the IoT is the variable rate application. How much fertilizer you apply in a field. हम क्या करते हैं? Generally today, the traditional practice, a farmer will use almost same amount of urea in or similar size of field. ना मेरा खेत इतना लंबा चौड़ा इतना यूरिया डाल दूं, अगला खेत इतना लंबा चौड़ा इतना यूरिया डाल दूं. But can you have a specific, because there will be a specific requirement of a farm, regardless of the dimensions. It will depend on the quality of the soil and the level of the existing fertility. If some farm, even if the size is same, but the fertility level of both the farms may not be same. इसमें ज़्यादा खाद पहले से पड़ी है तो इसकी fertility ज़्यादा है, इसमें कम होगी है because you have overdone the crop production in the field. इसलिए आपको याद होगा पहले एक खेत में जब करते थे तो we used to leave an agriculture field for certain time and use because the fertility used to increase. Right? पहले हमें जो अभी हमारा ये problem हो रहा है जो क्या जलाने का, पराली जलाने का, what is called in English? I forgotten. So stubble burning. पहले नहीं होता था because that we used as a fertilizer, वो पक के गल के, that used to increase the fertility level of the soil.
Thank you, sir.
Now we have different machinery to cut it, and therefore it is not cost effective. So can you make this cost effective? And now, whether you know or not, this stubble or the parali can also be used for burning or in the what you call in the boiler. Boiler में अगर आपको गर्म करना तो कैसे करेंगे? So do you have a kind of boiler which can heat up things or water or everything using parali by burning of parali? Yes, these kind of boilers are being made, but they need a different kind of material. The cost is not yet come down, but the industry is making these boilers cost effective as well. All right. So the traditional methods will not measure that how much, what are the condition of a farmland. जैसे ये भी खेत इसी साइज का, ये भी खेत इतना यूरिया इसमें डाल दो अगर हमें सेम काइंड की क्रॉप पैदा करनी है. This is what the traditional method is. Now in the precision agriculture, depending on the biophysical and chemical conditions of the farmland, the farmer will be told that how much quantity of a urea or a fertilizer he has to or she has to put in the field. So that is called the variable rate application. Different field will require a different rate of different factors. That's what. And so if the crop may not be suitable for all the land. And mind one thing, एक चीज में थोड़ा डेविएट हो रहा हूँ, जानबूझ के हो रहा हूँ, इसलिए कि this all whatever research methodology you study today for whatever statistical methods are developed, all came from agricultural research, because initial field of human application was agriculture, and therefore people required developing better techniques for agriculture. So the all methodology of the research, doing research, came from agriculture field. वहाँ लोग टेस्ट करते थे, खेतों को छोटे छोटे बना के यहाँ इसका क्या इम्पैक्ट है, उसका क्या इम्पैक्ट, रिसर्च करते थे. तो एग्रीकल्चर साइंटिस्ट used to that. Now the weather condition, can you have softwares which can predict weather conditions? And there are a lot of models of climate change. When I discuss with my colleagues in the environmental sciences, those who work on climate change, they use differential equations for modeling. There are n number of models. When I talk, why do you have so many models? Because they have not been able to capture all the factors which governs the weather conditions. Because human capability is limited. So one model captures some factors, some other model includes some and remove other. So different models are not suitable for each and every conditions. That's what so weather prediction models. And the moment you say prediction models, the other things required. And all right, but this can be supplemented by inputs from IoT and AI ML driven predictive analytics softwares. Now you need special softwares which are ML driven or AI driven for predicting the weather conditions or the produce of agriculture and what you have to do in the farmland. So this is what kind of input from IoT you need. So collection of data is one part of the IoT where you use sensors, and generally when you think of IoT in agriculture, generally people talk of collecting data through IoT devices. And this is one part, but after that what? Right? After that is data analytics. Can I have, right? So this is what you have to see. Okay. In this light, because you will study multiple things further, that what kind of sensors. Somebody may bring some soil sensor in a kit and put some soil in the sensor and then show you in the lab that this is how your sensor is measuring soil quality. That can happen. But putting this in the agricultural field is other challenge also, because it is put in the harsh conditions, weather conditions, temperature, everything. And also security, physical security, somebody may steal it. So there are not only what you call the technological challenges, there are human challenges as well to this. And you also need whether we have sensors for different kind of crops or not, and the kind of disease crops has. You can have also various softwares. आजकल तो सब कैगल डेटा सेट करते हैं मशीन लर्निंग में कि भाई इस क्रॉप को कौन सी बीमारी लगी, उस क्रॉप को कौन सी, because they take. Another problem is that we don't get data from the agriculture scientists in India. That's a big problem. We don't share. They collect. There are two ways. Earlier, people have been collecting. One of my friend in IIIT Hyderabad, who is professor there, he he made a project called eSagu, which was funded by Government of India. Sagu in Telugu means agriculture. Those, if there are participants from Telugu spoken, they can correct me if I'm wrong. He told me that Sagu means agriculture. So eSagu, electronics, agriculture. Long back, I think down the line, 15, 20 years back, he started. And what he used to do is he used to go to the field with the farmers. That time he does not have the sensor network. See, one of the fundamental in the IoT is the sensor network, right? Not only sensor network. So in the absence of sensor network, he used to go to the field, will take a picture of a leaf of crop, then come to the lab, and then through that image, you will try to see that whether that crop has developed some disease or not. That is the way he used to do. So now, that's what people say the sensor network is one of the integral part of the IoT, because had there been a sensor network in place, he might have put sensors in the field, and the data may be coming through the network to the central place called sink. That's what the linkage between IoT and what you call a sensor network. But this has its own limits. Sensor network has a limitation of the power, right? Devices, low power devices. Therefore, there was a requirement to develop low power routing algorithms. LoRa now is the current spatial routing protocol algorithm developed for IoT. So now you had sensor network in place. By putting LoRa protocol to transfer data may improve the IoT performance using sensor network. That's what precisely very, very important. So in this lecture, I'm not going to talk detail about the sensor network, which I could have well, but that's one part. I have not given you the various kinds of how, what are the various layers of IoT. Many people will talk on IoT. And right, what are the application of IoT? What are the technologies and protocols used in IoT? Which I'm not, I thought I'll not talk in this part because there are many people to talk on this issue. Let me put, before we go really on what you call, just 1 minute. Before we go on how 5G could be useful for IoT in agriculture. Let me give you a brief background of 5G. Once you understand what 5G means, then probably you will be able to understand how it can impact or improve my IoT applications in agriculture. That's what my idea. And then I'll also talk about what IoT means there a little bit of, and then I'll sum up my lecture towards 9 o'clock. But let me put it a little bit. Introductory part is important, so I mix it this way. There are 5G, 4G, 3G, 2G. If you look at the G's, and we assume that by 2022 now it is gone. 2022 is past. Now we have to set a goal then what 5G will come. Right? आपने सुना होगा government has sold the spectrum to the various operators. भारती ने ये इतना खरीद लिया, Airtel ने इतना का खरीद लिया, Adani Group has bought this much, and at the Videocon or somebody else, 4 groups bought some spectrum. But there is no 5G infrastructure in place. But to understand what is 5G offering and how that offering of 5G could be utilized for IoT in agriculture, then only you will be able to link. So therefore, what I put here is if you look at 10 decades, there is a generation. 1982 first generation, 1992 second generation, 2002 third generation, and 2012 fourth generation, and 2022 we are expecting 5G every 10 years. But India is not running with the same pace as the Western world. This is what US generations of mobile phones in US moves. हम तो 10 साल लेट चलते हैं ना. When there is a 1G, 2G came in 92, we talk of 1G. 2002 में 3G आ गया, हम 2G की बात कर रहे थे. Now still we are not using 4G. Still we are in the 3G. Largely वो लिख के आ जाता अलग बात है. Your mobile may give that you are using 4G, but actually you are using 4G or not. That is a different case altogether. Same will be with the 5G. Some of the mobile phones may be giving you 5G written over there, but whether 5G running or not. But anyway, that's I put for simply to make a background, give a little. But what is important in these generations? Let me put very quickly, and then see, if you look at each generation, if you look at 1G, the problem in 1G was the handsets were large, bulky, and it's an analog-based system. Only wealthy people used to afford. The cost was very high, and the quality and capacity of analog transmission was very low, and therefore it gave rise to the next generation. And absorbing, phone cloning, identity stealing, everything was very easier to do, and it is fragmentation. Means every country used different. Every means not each and every, but there are different countries used to use different kind of technology. अभी तो हम सब GSM यूज करते हैं. फर्स्ट जी में ऐसा नहीं होता था. कोई कुछ कर रहा है, कोई कुछ कर रहा है. That was important. Let me quickly go. So therefore 2G came, and these issues, what challenges 1G was in, 2G put some fair degree of resolution there. And then in 2G you talk of GSM, CDMA. Right, today we use all GSM, global common system for mobile communication. And they added security systems. To make the background, I'm quickly going. And from analog, we moved to the digital, and that is another advantage. And then you'll be surprised the CDMA is introduced during 2G, not 3G. Roaming was possible throughout Europe because everybody, all countries in the Europe were using GSM. So एक country से दूसरे country में जाने में मोबाइल चलता था. And then 2.5G कई लोग कहते हैं SMS service came because of digital communication, and handset size was improved, छोटे हो गए. And 2G was one of the most successful technology that you have to keep in mind. मतलब बहुत लोग जो बहुत ही orthodox होते हैं वो कहते हैं कि the even generations were very good in the sense that 2G was working fine, 3G did not, 4G also was better than 3G, and then 1G was not good. So 2G and 4G were more much better than 1G. So the even generations are good and odd generations are good. So people जो थोड़े दकियानुशी और नैरो और वैसे होते कहते हैं 5G will have the same problem that it is odd generation will not run. So this is what it is now. Therefore the 3G and 2G to 3G, now you have to look at some problems I put and then how 5G resolved and how 5G used. The problem of 2G was low data rate. Interactive video or interactive services of internet could not be used. Multimedia services was not supported by 2G. You cannot add pictures to the text. A limited spectrum efficiency. What does it mean? Many of you have not heard that. Spectrum efficiency means per megahertz, per gigahertz, whatever unit you measure, how many users can be supported. That's what called spectrum efficiency. अगर आपके पास 1 मेगाहर्ट्ज का फ्रीक्वेंसी है तो कितने यूजर को आप सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं at a given point of time. That is called spectrum efficiency. So it was limited, therefore it was difficult to enable audio video technology for higher throughput. So the throughput was low. Cell range was small in a sense that आपका मोबाइल का आप cellular phone कहते हैं, base stations to the cell phone, the range was very small, cell was very small. Therefore, this gave rise to evolution of 3G. And quickly, 3G basically aimed at CDMA for spectral efficiency. It used to supposed to provide high data rate for video service and used circuit and packet switching together. दोनों करता था. And one of the important things which happened in 3G was introduction of iPhone transformed the internet browsing with large screen size. iPhone came in when iPhone in late 90s. Introduction of iPhone transformed your mobile communication because with the iPhone you started watching good videos and the screen size was large, so that there was a problem. But still, the quality of video which was possible with the iPhone were not with the other phones. But however, the iPhones were very costly, but it caused rapid growth in the data. उससे क्या होगा कि लोग को ज़्यादा सा डेटा की डिमांड बढ़ गई. Because I have an iPhone, I can watch my videos, other things, demand increases. But mind that 3G did not become highly successful technology. That was the issue. And therefore it led to the 4G. Then I'll go to 5G, then talk something about 5G. Then okay. It was a slow revolution. इसीलिए हम कहते हैं कि long term revolution हम 4G को कहते हैं, because 3G was a slow evolution and 4G is long term evolution. बड़े लंबे समय के बाद इसका evolution हुआ. It tried to implement CDMA, but it could not do it properly and it could not take up. Later, high-speed packet access (HSPA) that improved data rate was introduced. But one of the challenge was the latency was still unacceptably long. Latency means delay. See, sometimes we get a little bit of confusion with high data rate will improve latency, but it doesn't happen all the time. Right? It's not all the time true. So, right, the small screen size of phones was a problem for 3G. Difficult in browsing internet services, the internet adoption was slow. Difficult with the mix of circuit and packet switching. 3G में एक problem थी कि आप packet switching and circuit switching together. And अगर आपने देखा होगा जब आपका कभी भी आप व्हाट्सएप पर कॉल कर रहे हैं, अगर आपका या कुछ कर रहे हैं और आपका अगर फोन आ जाता है सेल फोन पर, तो व्हाट्सएप वाला कट जाता है, वो प्रायोरिटी लेता है, बिकॉज द कॉल्स टेक प्रायोरिटी ओवर योर WhatsApp and SMS data or data packet switching, and then circuit switching takes over packet switching. It reduced network efficiency and difficulty to manage. Despite HSPCA 3G to not meet the user's performance demand. That means I need a low latency and fast retrieval of data, which could not be met by 3G, and that's what gave rise to evolution of 4G. Let me stop. I'll go and then continue after some time, after break.
Yes, sir. We meet at 8 p.m.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. So all the participants are requested to note down the questions and write the questions in chat box. All the queries will be clear by when we'll have the interactive session between 9 to 9:30. So the session is very wonderful, very important, and related talks, knowledge sir is sharing with us, all of us. So please take a benefit of it and write the queries in the chat box. Open with the questions, answers, queries will be attended in from 9 to 9:30. Gayatri, when you will share the attendance Google form?
Ma'am will share it in the second session and at 9:15 around.
Okay.
9:15.
Okay. For how many time it will be open? That link will be active?
15 minutes. It will be open for 15 minutes.
Okay.
Participants can ask their own their questions themselves to sir. So they can, in the interactive session from 9 to 9:30, they can ask their questions. That is the interactive session. Any other query from any other participant? Okay, ma'am. So we will take a break of 5 minutes. Then we'll come back.
Yes.
Okay.
Link is on.
Okay, link is on.
Please
yes.
go. One, Mr. Dipanshu has asked some good question.
क्या?
So we'll discuss with the sir
Yeah,
in
we will
between 9 to
yeah,
9:30.
yes.
We'll
I have
discuss with
noted
this.
down the question. 5G and 4G coexist.
Uh,
This is the question?
Fine. Yes, yes, yes. This
Okay.
was my question.
Okay.
One Mr. Dipanshu has also asked.
Okay. What is the question, ma'am? Can you read?
Ma'am,
Yes.
copy from the chat box
Chat.
directly.
Okay.
I Deepanshu,
Mr.
Deepanshu
Mr.
sir,
Sandeep
copy.
Bhatia. Mr. Sandeep Bhatia. Good evening.
This is the question. Deepanshu, you can ask them yourself. Deepanshu sir, you can ask yourself to our speaker about this your question.
Sure, sure.
So many questions are there on the chat box. We'll take them one by one.
Hmm.
One more question is there. If 5G starts to work in India, can automate farming? So all these
Hmm.
questions we will
Can
take
be.
one by one from 9 to 9:30. चिकन बन रहा है? हाँ यार क्या बोलूं? परसों बना लेते ज़्यादा देर हो जाएगी ना? अरे हो गई मेरी इससे बात क्या नाम है? एचओडी से। एचओडी कह रहा मैंने आपको ऐसे थोड़ी ना बोला था। मैंने कहा सर आपने जो बोला था। कह रहे मैं तो ये कह रहा था कि बच्चों को कंफ्यूजन हो जाता है प्लस माइनस में। तो मैंने कहा सर आपने बोला था ना कि मैडम को कंफ्यूजन है, तो मुझे गुस्सा आ गया। तो कह रहा अरे मैडम इतना टेंशन क्यों लेते हो, वो तो बच्चे हैं कुछ भी बोलते हैं। मैंने कहा सर तो फिर आप क्यों मुझे बोलते हो? कह रहा अरे मैडम मैंने ऐसे ही बोल दिया था। मैडम वो तो बच्चे हैं, वो तो फर्स्ट ईयर के बच्चे हैं, वो तो कुछ भी बोलते हैं। आपको बस बच्चों को टेंशन में रखिए। मैंने कहा वो तो मैं बच्चों के साथ बात करी कुछ नहीं बोला। फिर अंसारी का तो बात नहीं होना सर कहते अरे मैडम वो तो यूजुअल प्रैक्टिस है, हम क्लास में जाते हैं, हम पूछते हैं तो एक ना एक बच्चा तो बोलेगा, तो बस जिसने कुछ बोल दिया हमने आपको बता दिया, थोड़ा सा भी ध्यान कर लेना उस बच्चे का, बस इसमें क्या हो गया। मेरी गाड़ी आज स्टार्ट नहीं हो रही थी, बैटरी उठी भी नहीं थी।
छोड़ दिया ना, तो चालू एसी चालू कर छोड़ दिया ना उसका।
एसी
और क्या?
मैं तो ऑफ करके गई थी गाड़ी। क्या हुआ?
ऐसा थोड़ी होता है, कुछ ना कुछ तो हुआ होगा।
कुछ ना कुछ हुआ होगा।
बैटरी ड्रेन हुई है तो कुछ चालू रहा होगा ना।
फिर एचओडी ने अपनी गाड़ी लाई, मेरी अपनी बैटरी मेरे बैटरी से लगाई, फिर उसने पीछे खींची गाड़ी और जब उसने और बीबी मिश्रा सर ने गाड़ी पीछे खींची मुझे बैठा के,
खींचा थोड़ी हो रहा है।
थोड़ा सा खींचा पीछे तो वो चालू नहीं हो रही थी ना, फिर चालू हो गई। फिर मैंने वो कहने लगा फिर आप मैडम थोड़ा सा रेस दे दो इसको इधर उधर, फिर मैं लेके आई गाड़ी। अब इसकी वजह से मैं गाड़ी वापस ले आई। हेलो, हाँ यस, हाँ गुड इवनिंग, हाँ हाँ हेलो, हाँ 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 क्या दिखा? अच्छा फिर और क्या, और क्या? तो उससे क्या हो गया? वो तो वो स्पेलिंग वो हाँ वो तो टाइप मिस्टेक है, तो उतना तो चलता है ना। ठीक है, अगर नहीं चलेगा, अगर नहीं हुआ, अगर नहीं चलेगा ना, क्योंकि वो तो मैंने अपने आईडी से पोस्ट किया है ना, तो ऐसी कोई दिक्कत होनी नहीं चाहिए। लेकिन अगर फिर भी दिक्कत है तो मुझे बता देना, मैं दोबारा कर दूँगी। हाँ ठीक है, ठीक है, हाँ ओके, वो मैं सही कर दूँगी। हाँ ठीक है, ठीक है, ओके।
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Hello.
Yes, sir. Welcome back.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Shall we begin now? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I'll take questions towards the end, right? ठीक है
Yes,
ना? So this is the slide I was uh, there at the time of taking a break. Now, what gave rise to 4G? Let me put it, then we'll go to 5G. One of the advantage with the 4G was it uses orthogonal frequency division multiplexing, which those who are in electronics may be knowing in detail, but just see technologically how there is a difference. It has an overlap of frequency bands as well, but fine, it improved overall spectral efficiency. One of the advantages with 4G was it removed circuit switching. Everything came with packet switching. And if you recall, आपने कभी voice over IP यूज किया है? किया होगा. Many people might have used voice over IP. And when you talk about voice over IP with the 3G, forget what I was. You have lot of breaks in the voice in between. आप सुनते सुनते बीच में voice break करती थी. And sometimes you can't hear what is being talked. Why? Because voice over IP means the voice is being transmitted over IP network. IP network is a packet switch network. So you send packets, as the route is free, you forward it, then store and forward, store and forward. That's what you do. But in circuit switching, you don't have store and forward. You make a connection and then start. All the time the connection is available. So you don't need to store and wait for the further path to free. That is what IP network does. And therefore, in voice over IP, when you try to transmit voice on the IP network, when the voice packet goes, if no path is available further, it will store and wait for some time. So there is a delay. And that delay is causing the breakage in the voice, and which you are not able to make out. So this is the difficulty. So what 4G does it? 4G removed circuit switching, everything is IP. Now, that means if everything is going through IP, अगर आपके फोन में 4G का आता होगा, क्या आता है? क्या वोल्ट ओवर IP, something like that ना?
VoIP, it comes.
हाँ जी, अभी नहीं आता. अभी आजकल जो 4G में आता है VoLT, something like that ना? LT, long term.
VoLTE, sir.
Yeah, LTE ना, VoLT, voice over LTE, that it comes.
Yes.
LTE is 4G long term evolution, right?
Yes.
So that means everything is now IP based in 4G. It's not using circuit switching. But how is this delay reduced? That's the important point, because 4G also reduced the delay. And therefore, it was possible to go fully on IP. Once the delay is reduced, the voice calls will not be delayed. It will meet the requirement, because it is that any voice call has to be delivered within a given time constraint. So if that is met, IP network is correct. So that is one advantage of the 4G. That I said the voice carried by packet switching called voice over long-term evolution. लिखा तो मैं तो इसको भी नहीं देख रहा था anyway. Sorry. So I was not looking at that slide while explaining. But anyway, one is used wider frequency channels, thus improved latency. Why it is? Because it used a different frequency spectrum, wider frequency band. That is how it reduced latency. And 4G is a stable and data optimized network. That was the advantage of the 4G. And the spectrum efficiency is 2.5 times more than the 3G. Means whatever 1 megahertz band can serve the users, it will serve 2.5 times more users. So one is 4G became highly successful technology. But still we need 5G. That's what the target is now. Why? That you have to see. But because since 4G also has limitations. What are the limitations of 4G? One, not largely sufficient data rate. Means what is the data rate required for various applications today? Even 4G was not able to meet or will not be able to meet. That is one. And it uses frequency below 6 gigahertz. And that may not deal with massive number of devices. If you do IoT, IoT is going to deal with large number of objects because everything is connected with the internet. That's what IoT means. The moment you say everything is connected with the internet, your home itself may have n number of devices which are connected with the internet. How do we deal with a small frequency band? That's where the challenge comes. So therefore the 4G is also supposed to be not meeting the requirement of massive number of devices connected together. And whatever low latency 4G provided, I said, yeah, dekha tha humne kaha, it had lowered the latency. That's why it uses VoLTE. But whatever it has lowered the latency, but still we needed lower latency. हमें और भी कम चाहिए. Delay is the very key issue. It improves latency to a quite good extent, as it said, but still lower latency required for virtual reality services and interactive gaming. आजकल दो applications are very important: virtual reality and interactive gaming. और बच्चे आजकल interactive gaming से पैसे ऐसे कमाते पता नहीं, I don't know how to play. That's why. So these are the issues which still remains with the 4G. That's what the 5G emerges, and it must address these issues. Now, looking at this light, if you look at this light in the 5G, then you try to correlate with the IoT with the agriculture yourself when I'm talking about 5G now. Try to see and correlate. Now, one of the important, when 5G came, one of the important point was that entire industry or all generations of mobile communication had only one thing: they have to increase the data rate, faster data rate. हम भी कहते हैं कि आपका बहुत स्लो है, बहुत फास्ट करो, then you can watch movie, you can do this. That has been the theme from 1G to 2G to 3G to 4G. But 5G does not have only a theme which says there must be a faster data rate. It has multiple themes. That is where 5G is different than the previous generations. That is how you'll see that how we can correlate with the IoT and other things. I'll talk later there. Now, one of the theme was of 5G is to have faster broadband connectivity than 4G, which called enhanced mobile broadband. So we should give a faster broadband connectivity. If I say from accident to home, what should I use? I must use a AMB band. That I'll talk. Second theme was massive machine connectivity, IoT, which 4G was not providing. That is, large number of devices cannot be connected in 4G. So one of the theme of 5G was that it must be able to connect multiple devices together. That's what IoT is, Internet of Things. So that means in 5G, IoT is inbuilt. Right? If IoT is inbuilt, whether you use in agriculture, whether you use in healthcare, whether you use any domain, any application, that is same basically. So it's not very specific to agriculture. That's one. But yes, you can coordinate to a certain extent. Another theme of 5G is ultra low latency. It must give you a very, very small delay. Ultra is very small delay. That means there must be a radio solution at the transceiver level. Only then virtual reality is possible. Otherwise, you cannot have interactive games and virtual reality. If you are not able to provide low latency. If you, I talk that what is the delay in TCP connection if you average peak time when you are downloading something from a server in US, in India. What is the latency in Africa? What is the latency in US? What is the latency in Europe? Right? It depends on your network infrastructure. Now look at the 5G network technology. That it makes use of beamforming Rather than one omnidirectional antenna, you have multiple antenna in multiple directions, and they will form a beam and then communicate in that direction. And that is multiple input, multiple output is MIMO, and there are multiple antennas. MIMO is also used in 4G. It's not new to 5G, but only 5G scales this technique of MIMO. Scales means it increases. Like 8 antennas in 4G. 4G used to use 8 antenna, right? Your mobile tower or you have 8 antenna sending signals in the different directions. एक ही एंटीना नहीं होगा और जो सब डायरेक्शन में सिग्नल कर रहा है 5G into 128 antenna. 5G में a tower will have 128 antennas. So one antenna is only focusing forming a beam in a small direction. That means there will be 28 beams formed in different 28 directions maybe. So it will cater to a large number of devices. One. And this is called massive MIMO in 5G. What is MIMO in 4G? It's called now massive. Huge number 8 to 128. कितना times हो गया देखिए, right? 16 times. It's a big change in technology. Also 5G also requires change in the core network technology. That means your switches and router also has to have some changes there. Right, enhance flexibility. That means the concept of virtualization, which you study in the cloud, say that has to be implemented in the core network, in the backbone network. When we have your switches and router, they must also use virtualization. The control plane and the data plane must be different virtual planes. Should not be dealt by the same OS or same hardware or same CPU. That's what it deals with. So these are the technological changes in 5G. And also now there's a spectrum changes in 5G. It's a themes, then technological changes, now the spectrum changes. Look at this. What it says, number one, 5G radio spectrum uses multiple bands. अभी हम नहीं करते, अभी हम 2.5G पर या 2.5 या 800 इन्हीं पर हम communicate करते, whether it is 2G, 1G, 3G, 4G. Now 4G may have different band, but 5G said it should use 700 megahertz band. It should use 3.5 gigahertz band, and it should use 28 gigahertz band. Even now, it is being expanded that can I use 60 gigahertz band or not? 60 gigahertz is a huge band. But these signals have their own problems, right? Now, if you look from these, why there are three different spectrums 5G is aiming at? One, that is it talks of low band at 700 megahertz to be used for wide coverage. Low frequency signals travel to a longer distance, high frequency signals travel to a shorter distance, because higher frequencies are more susceptible to attenuation than the low frequency signals. Now, what is the advantage of that? Why it aims at? Because if you go to a rural area where you do not have much population, your population is far apart, spread up, then, and वहाँ कोई vegetation पे, there are no high-rise buildings, the obstacles are not many, then your signal can travel to a longer distance, and then your cost may be cost effective. एक tower है, बड़ी दूर तक cover कर रहा है. That's what I'm talking about, right? बहुत दूर तक cover कर रहा है. So the cost of establishing a tower, installing a tower at this place will reduce, because एक ही tower लगाना पड़ेगा. It will cover a large area, and population कम है, तो you have less earning. Second is mid band, 3.5 gigahertz. If you come to the urban area, then there are high-rise buildings, lot of vegetation in terms of trees or buildings, so not vegetation, high-rise buildings, other obstacles. So your signal cannot travel to larger than one, and the population is also dense. The population density increases in your urban areas. Also, the building high-rise buildings. Therefore, what one the signal cannot travel to a longer distance because there are a lot of obstacles in terms of high-rise buildings, electric poles, many things. So, therefore, you should have multiple towers. So, signal will travel to a shorter distance, then there will be another tower. So you can use little high frequencies so that they cannot travel to a longer distance as the 700, and therefore you can high frequency signals. It will give you little use, more number of users can be covered. आपका bandwidth बढ़ गई if you use high frequency signals, and people are densely deployed, so you are serving more number of people in that area also. Right? So this is the key band of 5G EMB. हमने कहा था 5G will provide you enhanced mobile broadband that will be served by 3.5 gigahertz. That is another spectrum 5G. Also, the 5G is also saying that it will use 28 gigahertz. Even now aiming at 60 gigahertz. Why this high 28 gigahertz band? When you have a 28 gigahertz band, you have large number of channels in this. Why? Because it will be used for low latency. If you have reduced the latency, your bandwidth is huge and data can travel faster, can serve. But it cannot travel to a longer distance, very short distance. Higher the frequency, lower the distance it can travel to. So 28 gigahertz signal is going to travel to a shorter distance. So it will be used for fixed wireless access, FWA, such as home broadband wireless. जैसा Wi-Fi यूज कर रहे हैं उसी तरह से it can be used as a better service for Wi-Fi. You can connect n number of devices now. Huge bandwidth, a large number of devices can be connected together. That's what it will support your massive machine connectivity. Right? That is the advantage of 28 gigahertz band. So now you understand why 3 bands. So different kind of services and different kind of locations, different kind of scenarios can be covered by different frequency bands. That is what the primary aim of 5G is. Now, let me lead few things. Now, if you look at the previous generation, did not have a vision such as they were aimed at resolving the problem in the previous generation. Right? Every generation is trying to resolve to a problem that the previous generation posed and providing faster connectivity. And 5G is a collection of visions. General expectation is that 5G will deliver improved user experience, that user will experience much better quality of service. Right? आपको यही नहीं लगा कि आप जब वीडियो देख रहे हैं तो मूवी रुक रुक के आ रही है, अभी ऐसे ही आती है. Then 5G will not have, if you are running 5G, then you will not find that the movie is coming by, stop it slowly, and then you have to wait to watch a movie. And then it must have potential for new services. Any generation comes with the improvement, and the market also expects that new services will come. So therefore, the IoT is one kind of application where different kind of services along with the 5G will come. If 5G is serving some of the IoT applications, it can have a huge chances in the healthcare, huge chances in the agriculture. Therefore, the potential for new services is important. Otherwise, what will happen is that the operators who are going to provide the service will not be able to make the profit per se, whatever they are putting the capital in the infrastructure. Because I'll come to that point also. So you can see 5G along with IoT for the healthcare, 5G along with the IoT for agriculture can be the huge applications or new services for 5G. That's I will see. Now, if you look little detail, to deliver the general expectation, 5G would have to meet one of the following criteria. One, the connectivity for multiple device and services with 100% geographic coverage. Now you can link with the IoT also. IoT for agriculture. The agricultural land is spread over entire country, not in one place, right? And some of the areas may not have still mobile connectivity where you do your agriculture, right? Now, therefore, don't see only in the perspective of India. You have to see in the, because the agriculture is also being done in Western countries, America, Europe. The highest farming land is in Sweden or some Scandinavian country, most probably Sweden. There's a lot of agricultural land, and so one of that's the connectivity for multiple devices and services with 100% geographic coverage. Almost every geographic area should be covered by the mobile connectivity. That's what is important. Which is not possible with today's cellular phones. अभी भी आप जाएं तो कहते हैं either the mobile is switched off or the service is not available if there is no tower. Even today you listen to that. Now, so 5G will try to cover that. Now see its application in agriculture. If we have 5G in the country, even the area which are not covered today by the cell phone, as an agricultural field where you need IoT to be developed, and that area, if 100% coverage is given by the 5G, that location or that area of agricultural land can also be covered, and you can put IoT devices, and the data collected by the devices can be transmitted to a remote location at a central location, a sync. That's what advantage of 100%. Just 1 minute. Sorry for the interruption. So 100% geographic area coverage at the theme of the 5G can be very well connected with the IoT and agriculture, right? Now, ability to combine signals from multiple frequency band to multimeter waves. That's could also can relate, but wait for a while. Could not be exactly mapped to the IoT with agriculture. The low latency to support services whose requirement cannot be met by using X. Now, lower delay is very, very important. At the moment you say low latency, a certain monitoring of agriculture services by IoT probably may not support a delay. If you can relate virtual reality with the agriculture, virtual reality needs a real low latency, right? So immediate impact that can also be useful for agriculture with the IoT. Another aim is to bring together multiple delivery platforms under a single umbrella. That's what 5G must do. So even if we have different IoT components today, one of the challenges in the IoT is the standardization. Does different manufacturers who are making different IoT devices or sensors, do they follow the same protocol or not? If don't, then what is the interoperability issue? It's a big challenge. That's what if 5G brings together multiple delivery platforms under a single umbrella, that can also support IoT. That different kind of platform which are used by IoT could be bring under one single umbrella, which may be useful either in agriculture or in health service sector or any other sector. and capacity to support provisions of ultra fast broadband services. And now the last one, the technology to support a wide mix of different services that require different solutions. Right? At times, different services require different solutions. Not that one solution fit to all. It does not happen. A solution for virtual reality is different than the solution for interactive gaming, and virtual reality is different than the solution for simple driving cars, and you have a vehicular ad hoc network. So they may need a different kind of technological support. Anyway, now this is important slide now. Is that the vision propounded by the manufacturer who have suggested performance expectation for 5G is this. The manufacturer who are manufacturer of the 5G will manufacture 5G devices. They said that the 5G should be 1,000 times increased mobile data volume. वो expect कर रहे हैं कि जितने भी अभी तक mobile devices हैं, and with the implementation of 5G, the number of devices will increase, the volume of devices, data volume, mobile data volume, sorry, not devices, sorry. The amount of data which is generated by mobile devices will increase 10,000 times, sorry, 1,000 times. Why? Because we have a massive machine connectivity. Huge number of devices, the IOT will be connected together. It is going to create 1,000 times more data. And 10 to 100 times increase in connected devices. This also relates IoT for agriculture. If you look at 100 times increase in the connected devices is a huge challenge, huge issue, and we could say huge increase, right? And most important is a 5 times lower latency. The delay will be 5 times lower. What is the delay with the 4G? 4G, the delay is, peak delay is considered to be 50 milliseconds. And in a very good, when the network is not congested, not peak time, 4G can give you 30 milliseconds delay, average delay, right? With the 5G, we are expecting that it should give you 10 milliseconds delay. That means all communication must take within 10 milliseconds में आपका डेटा आ जाना चाहिए, इससे ज़्यादा डिले नहीं होना चाहिए. 10 millisecond delay is a very small delay and a good. That's what the 5G target is. So that's why it's 5 times lower. 50 milliseconds to 10 milliseconds is a 5 times lower latency in case of 5G. Right? And then also these manufacturers also consider that 10 times battery life expansion for low power devices. That's very important one. It also expects this is only possible if the battery life extends 10 times faster, whatever it is. Its life should be 10. अगर हमें एक दिन में चार्ज करना पड़ता है, क्या हम 10 दिन में चार्ज करेंगे? It is important to deal with the low power devices. If it is not met, see, look at the challenges. All these things seems to be a big challenge for 5G. So therefore, I have my reservations about 5G. Whatever the market says, that whether we will be able to achieve whatever 5G is targeting at. It's a huge expectation from 5G. Right? And if you are able to do that, look at the cost you are going to pay. If you look at the comparison that this is a huge ambitious vision, because delivering 1,000-fold increase in data volume would be 50 times better than the best international volume increase, moving from 2G to 3G. जब हम 2G से 3G में मूव किए थे, उससे 50 गुना ज़्यादा हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं. Right? That's what we are expecting. And 500 times better than what is achieved with the 4G. जितना डेटा वॉल्यूम हम 4G से कर रहे हैं, उससे हम 500 टाइम्स ज़्यादा एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं. Right? Accomplishing above while lowering the latency is even harder. Achieving a latency of 5 milliseconds is very, very difficult. And reduced latency tends to reduce efficiency. If you try to reduce latency, yes, this may also lead to reduction in the efficiency also. Is a challenge. Now, what we are trying to say here is, this is a vision of 5G, and any vision you make, it should be a realizable vision. And to me, especially, it seems I'm not very clear whether this vision will be realized or not. The time will tell, right? That's before I go on that. Today, you look at whatever IoT devices you talk about. One, everybody comes with, I said, a Raspberry Pi and an Arduino kit. Let's say you can have 16 sensors or 15 sensors on a Raspberry Pi, right? They'll put 15 sensors on the Raspberry Pi and show you some experiment on the laboratory, reading the data from various sensors, stacked or parallelly put on the motherboard or kind of a device, and then they'll give power and put one gateway over that कि GSM based gateway है कि Wi-Fi based gateway है, आपसे Wi-Fi से connect करके वहाँ से data read करके they'll write some code in Python or something on their laptop, and they say this is the data is coming, they have the software running, they will show everything in graph form, and then set code there, and we enjoy it as a programmer or as a learner, no doubt about that. But I have not seen any big application shown by the industry when it invite them, and when that they are showing something greater than that. Is that really an IoT? That's what my primary question is. When you are expecting the huge number of devices will be connected together, how many things, if I put Internet of Things, how many things at home can be connected to? If we monitor healthcare, if you look at that, everybody will at home will have a wristband, wearable wristband in the hand. We put that. If a family has 4 members, 4 wristband. If you put your TV at every place, then TV will be also connected. 4 TV. अभी तो लोग आजकल तो लोग अपने कमरे में अलग-अलग TV रखते हैं. Then you have a fridge. You can have watch. You can have many things. Look at the amount of devices. If really Internet of Things is to be realized, you need to connect together. I don't know what is going to happen. That's what I'm putting. But yes, in terms of bandwidth requirement and latency, if 5G is there, it can support that vision. That's what we are saying. Right? After having said this about 5G, you look at some applications of 5G which were proposed by IOT. The vision highlights access to cloud-based services will be supported by 5G. Augmented reality will be, that is virtual reality and augmented reality will be supported by 5G. High definition video is one of the vision that ITU said that 5G will support, provide a service or high-speed data access, and then automation, mission critical communication, IoT, and M-term opportunities. And if I put this, this is a diagram given by standard this next generation mobile network NGMN has identified 25 different applications that are grouped under 8 different families. That broadband accesses, then broadband access everywhere, and broadband access in dense area, higher user mobility. When you are in a train, whether you can get your communication continuity or not, because if you go under a tunnel, we don't get a signal. So the one of the 5G theme, if you provide a 5G connection, 100% geographic coverage means even I am moving, if my train is moving in a jungle, it must give a coverage that my network should be there. Massive Internet of Things wireless sensor network, they must be supported by 5G. Extreme real-time communication, uh, where you touch something and it must immediately move the data. And life-saving natural disaster, when you are doing operations, all these has to be supported by 5G. Anyway, leaving this now, let us move to a little bit on 5G powered farming now. This is not that I have copied this picture. ये मुझे अच्छी लगी तो मैंने इसको कॉपी कर लिया. This is an organism called Cropin. It has been given that. That's what it says, that one of the important the 5G powered smart farming could be the machine to machine data transfer. Now this huge band of 28 gigahertz is going to give you the transfer of data from machine to one machine to another machine. If you look at एक ट्रैक्टर यहाँ है, वहाँ पर कुछ और वो ड्रोन है, can there be faster communication from drone to the tractor there? That's what, right? So you can immediately transfer data from, if you use your mobile today, if you are transferring data from mobile to mobile, you are using what? Bluetooth, बहुत कम रेंज में है, right? और बहुत ज़्यादा वो है तो वाईफाई से कर लिया, या फिर अपने सेलफोन से डेटा ट्रांसफर करते हैं तो कहता है कि आपका आज का डेटा का लोड खत्म हो गया है, because that is put condition where you should not be used all the bandwidth all the time. With the 5G that is possible. Accurate harvest prediction. Why accurate harvest estimation? Because you need huge amount of data to be collected. If to the place, then you analyze through the software, predict that the harvest कब होगी फसल, crop कब harvest होगी, that estimate had to be done. The accuracy will depend on your precision of your data. The moment I say precision of data, how much data you have collected, not only the frequency, the amount, and कितने time interval पर आपका data आता है. If you have very small intervals, you have data, very correlated data together, and then their data has to be collected, and collection of huge amount of data will require a faster connection. So, and then you can talk about the prediction of the accuracy. That's what 5G could be used for. Drone spares, that is, the drones can spray the insecticides, can spray seeds, can do multiple things. And drone can be, controlled by your 5G connections from a remote distance, may be possible. Precision agriculture, we talked about everything connected together. That's what we said. What we call smart farming or precision agriculture, which includes all aspects of the technological things to be connected to the agriculture. AI-enabled machinery, that means you should have a good amount of AI-enabled technology, which may be used weather forecasting, may be used for estimation of harvesting, maybe estimation of multiple things in the machines, and that's what. And one of the important is the livestock tracking and management. Agriculture is not only growing the crops; it is also related with the livestock. How many animals do you have? That is the relation with the agriculture.
Hello, Sonia.
Hello.
Yes, Sonia, please mute your mic.
Okay.
Then, ma'am, you can continue. Sir, you can continue.
See, this livestock tracking is very, very important, because agriculture also is related to the livestock, because how many animals you have got, because animals, all animal waste is used for your agriculture fertilization. So both are correlated together. So livestock monitoring means how do you monitor the activities of the animals, and and that where are your animals right now. You can have a GPS sensor put on them and monitor them. Not only that, I remember very well that NDI and Karnal, a National Dairy Research Institute, they have huge number of cows for dood research करते हैं, then they have a big land, they leave their livestock for grazing. चले गए animal जंगल में. If some animal is not keeping well, how to track that? So एक तो GPS लगा, that will tell the location of an animal. Also a body temperature sensing sensor is put there. So it is continuously sending data. What is the temperature, body temperature of an animal? And then if it has some fever, the doctor can go and track the animal and give the treatment. Also other aspect of management of livestock. भाई घास तो खेत से ही आना है खाने के लिए, एग्रीकल्चर फील्ड से ही आना है, तो घास भी तो उगाना है. So that's what you can also do, that how much grass you have to produce for the number of animals, cattle you have got. So that could also be tracking and management of animals could be another. And everywhere if you do, the huge number of applications will require a high bandwidth and effective irrigation. Right, irrigation for your agriculture. Then you have to, how much water you need to put in an agriculture field. Can I have, I can measure the water level of a farmhouse, a farmland, and see that how much additional water it needs. Then I must sensor control canal should start with serving the water. उसके बाद बंद हो जाना चाहिए automatically. There are n number of applications. That is what where 5G powered this can be. If you have large number of applications, you need a good technology to deliver the services. So one is the faster communication. Is that 5G will offer a 10 Gbps data speed. That is what is expected. And 10 gigabits per second is a huge speed. So in farming, if you look at a 10 Gbps speed can help, because every farmland you cannot make your data centers, so it has to be sent to a long distance also. So 5G also supports long distance communication, short distance communication. That could be advantages for your this data speed, and 100 times speedier connectivity than 4G, जो हमने पहले भी कहा था, and that is also useful for 5G. If you are controlling with the drone, it should faster communication. Drone अगर कुछ distribute कर रहा है, आपको अगर रोकना है तो quickly रुकना भी चाहिए. So faster speeds and significantly lower latency will facilitate real-time communication between stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? The technology providers, service providers, the farmers, the government, and the buyers of the products, and the supplier of the materials for the agriculture. All they are stakeholders. There could be a real-time communication possible only if you have 5G connectivity will provide a better real-time communication. That's what it says. Second is the machine-to-machine data transfer, direct information transfer between 5G-enabled devices without human intervention. Could be one of the important contribution of 5G towards farming. That you don't need any human intervention. It is directly automatically controlled by technology. So can I transfer from a machine to machine directly rather than using a lot of things? एक devices वहीं पर लगी है. Then if it is a slower connection, a slower bandwidth, because wireless communication also has problem of what you call reliability, then 5G connections may help many ways to do that. So this can, the speed and efficiency of the agriculture processes can be enhanced by using 5G technology. And then another, it says that it can reduce the cost with a lesser requirement of agricultural products, inputs, workforce, and other sources. Farm owners can increase revenue remarkably. That is what is expected by 5G. How it is now? What does it mean? Lesser requirement of agricultural inputs is that today, as I said, we distribute fertilizers, put fertilizer, equal amount fertilizers in the equal size of field. And that is it. If you have other parameters into consideration, the requirement of fertilizer may be different at different field. So the input in terms of fertilizer required is different. It may be lowered, right? Lesser हो सकता है हम excess जो डाल लें हर फील्ड में घटा दीजिए. Also, how much water you need. Some may need more water, some may need less water. हम तो अंदाजे से डालते हैं और ज्यादा पानी डाल दिया. We don't know what is the water level under the agricultural farm land. So we give water. So by measuring that water level through the IoT active devices, we can also reduce the amount of water to be put in the agricultural land. So that is also, we are reducing the requirement of the agricultural input. Also workforce. If multiple things are controlled by this machinery, like say for example, if you spread your insecticide by drones, use human workforce is reduced with that every time you need time and people. And other resources that a farmer require may also be reduced. The seed quality, can I have a check for seed quality, my IoT? And can I, the moment I sow seeds, can I predict that with this water level, with this fertilizer, how many days a seed will take to come out? And then what I need, if it's delaying, then it may die. All these issues can be taken care of. Whether there is a insect or not, अभी जाके check करना पड़ता है. You need a workforce to check whether there is some insect harming the crop or not. If you have sensors, they can send you the message and then you can give the treatment. And farm owners can increase revenue remarkably. That means the primary aim of IoT-based agriculture was to enhance the productivity and the quality of the products, both. That's what, if you increase the productivity, then the revenue of the farmers will increase. Also, the quality of products may also result into better business prospects for the farmers. That's what is. I think I should stop here now, and thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, sir.
So questions after 10 minutes or what?
Yes, sir. Questions
What-
will be, yeah, sir. Questions after 10 minutes. Sir.
Sir, if you would like to take a 10 minutes break, then okay. Otherwise, we can continue for the questions. क्यों
हाँ,
गायत्री
ठीक है।
मैडम?
हाँ जी।
Yes, sir. If sir is ready, then we can continue.
हाँ. If you want to take rest, then please take
नहीं,
rest.
ठीक है, continue, no issue.
Okay, sir.
We'll continue.
Okay, sir.
So we'll finish 10 minutes earlier, that's it. Yes.
हाँ, no issue, sir. No issue.
Yes. Any question क्या है? कोई
Yes,
लिखे
yes,
तो
sir.
थे कुछ question?
हाँ, लिखे थे, sir.
है ना?
Yes, this one question.
Or anybody wants to ask, let them ask. हाँ, पर
Okay.
पहले
संदीप भाटिया.
Okay.
संदीप भाटिया.
कोई पूछना चाहता पहले वैसे पूछ लेते हैं फिर
हाँ.
इसको
Mr. Sandeep
Yes.
Bhatia. हाँ, please ask the questions, sir.
Sir, good evening, good afternoon, sir.
Hello.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes,
Sir, what is the
Yes,
difference
yes,
between the
sir.
smart agriculture and the smart irrigation? Smart irrigation is related to, I think, smart techniques or something else.
नहीं,
Difference between the smart agriculture.
see, irrigation, smart irrigation means using these IoT devices for irrigation purpose only. But agriculture includes much more than irrigation, right? So irrigation is one of the part of the agriculture. So either you are only enabling IoT devices for irrigation, or you are doing it for the other processes of agriculture also. Other practices maybe for fertilizer, for seed quality, for crop disease. So if you take entire things, activities or practices of the agriculture, enabling with the IoT devices, it is smart agriculture, right?
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Please ask.
actually, sir, actually we experience about that because we are also from the farmer family. That's the problem is from the one particular area they are cropping for example, tomato is more yield. In some areas less yield, and at the time they went to market, they will get a very less price. Because of that, a lot of losses for our farmers. How we can tackle these issues by using our new technologies?
Can you really repeat? Said at some you grow
Yes.
tomato. टमाटर आप पैदा कर रहे हैं.
Yes,
कहीं
sir.
पर ज्यादा और
और एक बार ज्यादा आता है सर, फिर से कम होता है, एक एरिया में ज्यादा आते हैं, दूसरे एरिया में कम होता है,
See,
बट दे वेंट टू द मार्केट, द मीन्स फार्मर विल सफर लॉट because of these issues. How we
see,
can give the
that's what.
solution for this problem?
Yeah. See now. See, number one is that the yield or the produce, the quantity of the tomato you are producing. Some area is less, some area is more. First question relates with that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, that's what I said. The entire research methodology came from agriculture.
Yes,
Number
sir.
one, and why it came now I'm trying to relate. All statistical techniques developed for the research methodology emerges because of agriculture. ये कैसे बताता हूँ आप इसलिए
Yes.
as I said, even the soil quality of two farmlands may not be same. The moment I say soil quality, the pH value in the soil, if take one example, the amount of the nitrogen in the soil may be different in different places. Right? कहीं pH value ज़्यादा, it is more acidic, it will damage the crop. So even the fields are nearby, does not mean their soil quality is same. There may be difference of soil quality, which the farmers are not able to know today.
Yes, sir.
अगर याद होगा पहले farmers used to take the earth in the hand, ऐसे ऐसे करते थे हाथ से ना, कैसे मिट्टी है, करते ना, their experience, they have learned it.
Yes.
So they measure this. But if you have a precision agriculture, we have smart devices which can measure the soil quality. Then we know that to improve the soil quality, what treatment we have to give to the farm. One, right? Second is depending on the other biophysical parameters of the land, वहाँ उसका moisture कितना है वहाँ पर, because the moisture level may be different field. So accordingly we will irrigate it. हमने over irrigation भी नहीं होना, under भी नहीं होना. कम पानी मिलेगा, then also a problem with the crop. If you give over water, some crops are damaged. So now you need a better precise amount of water. So if you know the moisture level of a field, then you can give the correct amount of water there. So n number of regions for a difference of the produce. So if your smart agriculture is there, you measure, and then accordingly you give the fertilizer and the water and the seeds, and the quality of seeds may not be suitable for each soil conditions. So accordingly you can improve. This can be one of the solutions for that.
Okay, sir.
Sir, I
Thank
have
you,
one
sir.
question, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually,
Yeah.
Sir, actually, I have done one project on this smart agriculture. So, sir, we are using the LoRaWAN, and LoRaWAN nodes and LoRaWAN
Yeah.
gateway is there, and we are collecting the data and we are sending it on the cloud. But sir, the question is, when we applied it in CDOT, then they asked that how you are going to use one M2M technology here. Like you told that so many technologies will be there in IoT, many mixing of the protocols will be there. So how this one M2M technology will be useful, and where we will keep it, like on the gateway and the cloud, between the gateway and the cloud. So means I mean to say that where we are going to use this M2M, one M2M technology.
And see, if you look at you have a IoT devices in terms of sensors, then you have a small cluster of sensors at a given place, right?
Yes, sir.
अगर आप इस फील्ड में आपने सेंसर लगा दिए तो they will communicate among themselves, right?
Yes, sir.
See, one. But ultimately you have to bring this data to some place, right? Some central place to analyze it. Now the moment you do, then what you need is you have to a gateway. अब लगा रहे होंगे gateway, आपने कहा हम LoRa gateway लगा रहे हैं, right? And if you are using which technology of what you call is MAC layer technology let me और रेडियो टेक्नोलॉजी इट वाज यूजिंग, क्या कर रहा था, वाईफाई, जीएसएम, और क्या कर रहा था,
वाईफाई, सर.
इफ यू यूज वाईफाई करेंगे, इट हैज ए वेरी शॉर्ट रेंज, राइट? अगर मुझे थोड़ा डिस्टेंस रेंज पर करनी तो मैं क्या करूंगा, अगर वाईफाई की रेंज से बाहर है तो आई हैव टू आइदर रिलाई ऑन सम अदर कम्युनिकेशन प्रोटोकॉल और सम अदर रेडियो टेक्नोलॉजी. Assume that I am using GSM. अगर मैं GSM कर रहा हूँ तो क्या होगा, my data from that cluster will come to a GSM node, एक राउट गेटवे वहां पर आ गया GSM पर, वो तो because that GSM may be that router may be connected with the Wi-Fi to the sensor nodes, ठीक है ना, but when from the sensor through Wi-Fi it comes to the gateway, now it has to go to the SIM. How will it go to the SIM? If I connect with the 3G and 4G, then it will go to the base station, then come to the my center place, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
From gateway, if I'm using GSM or cellular technology, it will come to the nearby base station, cellular cell base station, then what base station will send it to my device.
Yes, sir.
Can I have a device without going to the base station? Can that gateway transmit to my place?
Please.
That means there is a SIM called M2M SIM, mobile to mobile SIM. This is not the same SIM you use in your 3G. There are special SIMs come which you put in your gateway without going to the base station. You have a mobile SIM at your place, it will transmit to that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
This is called M2M. That we are using here, इसलिए मुझे पता है, नहीं तो मुझे भी पता नहीं था.
Yes, sir. Any other question from any other participant? Sandeep Bhatia. Mr. Sandeep Bhatia.
No, ma'am. No.
Okay. Then
Excuse me, sir.
Sir,
Good evening, sir. So this is Monica Malik from JSS Academy of Technical Education, Noida. Sir, it was a wonderful session. Sir, actually मुझे एक क्वेश्चन पूछना है, like in पानीपत the actually जो water है वो बहुत ज़्यादा polluted है. So just 2 days back also there was a news that all of a sudden a lot of chemical came into the fields and पूरा का पूरा farming अच्छे उसमें grow हो रही थी, but still something has happened that they are in a very bad position. So sir, how we can relate this to this kind of situation, sir? Because it's very severe, sir. It's a very severe.
See, we have sensors for water pollutant, right? If you put these sensors in the underwater ATAL sensor, those sensors measure the pollutant level in the water, कितना SO2 है, कितना जो भी pollutant है, different kind of sensors.
Right, sir.
So एक तो है कि wherever that water, we have to have sensors which will keep on measuring the pollutant level of a water.
Okay, sir.
Right. And then we must give the treatment, or we must do something to stop it, basically.
Yeah.
But we don't know how much pollutant coming in a river or in a nearby area. Had they been knowing, they could have stopped, right? So had there been these sensors of measuring pollutants in the water, probably the government or the monitoring agencies could have got that information.
Right.
Then it could have been monitored, right? Okay. So use of pollutant sensors could be a good idea.
Okay, sir.
This is what I can see.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. I am Richa Tiwari from GL Bajaj Institute. Sir, I want to ask that arsenic level inside the water affect the agriculture or not? Crops का जो quality है वो arsenic levels पे depends करता है sir. उससे crops का quality या उस पे कोई
I may not be able to answer exactly rather than giving a wrong answer because what pollutant or what chemicals damage or adversely impact agriculture, probably agricultural scientists may be a right people to answer the question, right? I don't know, to be very frank.
Hello, sir. Sir, namaskar. This is Sonu Kumar Jha from Guide. Sir, I am having one. First of all, I would like to thank you, sir. This was really a grateful session for IoT usage in agriculture sector. Sir, I am having one doubt. How can we minimize security concern in agriculture sector? Like we are using here cloud data, and there are a lot of security concern can come if I will use IoT sensors in case of agriculture. So how we can minimize that? And yes, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And sir, if we will talk about the electrochemical sensor that we are using in case of recycle process.
Yeah.
So there are some drawback in recycle process as well by using electrochemical sensor. So how can we improve this also, sir?
See now there are 2-3 issues. One you said पहला question क्या था कि मैं तो भूल गया पहला क्वेश्चन एक बार रिपीट कर दो
सर IoT
कोरोना के बाद भूलने लगा हूँ जल्दी जल्दी अच्छा बताइए
नो इशू सर IoT का जो मैं यूज कर रहा हूँ हम लोग यूज करते हैं एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में तो उसमें सबसे बड़ा
सिक्योरिटी इशू से था ना
यस यस
देखिए दो one thing is very clear even if you go through the literature and articles people have not yet been very clear about what is the specific security concern for different applications आप हेल्थ केयर में भी सिक्योरिटी की बात करते हैं आईओटी वाले एग्रीकल्चर में भी करते हैं if you go through the literature they have not been able to give much details what is the security challenge specific to healthcare specific to agriculture using IoT now what is people talking about is the security of a wireless network in general maybe IoT right this is what is being talked about in the literature yesterday I was reading some paper on healthcare they also talk of security and privacy in healthcare. If you go in the detail of the literature, they did not say anything very specific to the concern with the healthcare, except one कि भाई healthcare में जो record है लोगों के जो पेशेंट को चोरी हो सकते हैं और तो नया कुछ नहीं है बाकी सब is technology level security is same as the wireless security, right? जो wireless if the wireless network is secure, your technology is secure. पहली बात तो ये है. What is new in that? Second is your applications are secure whatever application you are running that application level security is there if a security for OS you are providing for wired network or even isolated network that security concern of operating system will also work there now only question is everybody talks of the security for different applications but nobody talks of the specific security applications to that area this is one part second part is only if I confine the question to the security of IoT basically, right? Is that security devices are lightweight devices, number one. And then we need all protocols to be developed for the security that should be lightweight protocols. The moment I say lightweight process, two reasons. Number one, lightweight in the sense of consumption of the energy. If it's running on a IoT node, which has a very low, small power device, power battery, then I cannot have security applications running and consuming more power, number one. This should be light that it consumes less energy. And second is, the security protocols being developed cannot have large, complicated protocols which has a huge, large key. Small keys, now that also is a challenge. That is where people are working that how to provide lightweight security solutions. If lightweight security solutions comes for IoT, whether you apply it to agriculture, whether you apply it to healthcare, right? This will be applicable to everywhere. And I don't see any specific security for the what you call agriculture. अभी एम्स का जो सर्वर डाउन हो गया था, अगर आपको याद हो कितना बड़ा न्यूज में था सिक्योरिटी कंसर्न.
Yes, sir. Yes.
What it does? It only did the denial of service.
Yeah, DDoS. Yes.
है ना, denial of service है. आप एम्स में लगा देते एमसी की सर्विस डिनाई होगी.
Yes,
इसको आप कहीं और लगाते हैं, इसरो में लगाते हैं, इसरो की सर्विस डिनाई हो जाती.
Yes,
ये तो होता ना. But there is nothing specific to AIMS, nothing specific to ISRO basically.
Yes.
So still in the literature they are not very specific security causes which are very specific to the agricultural healthcare are given yet. But only one is lightweight, development of lightweight security protocols. It's concerned across entire wireless network. That's the key.
Okay. Yeah, got it, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Any other question?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, one of our participant posted in the chat box that is they are asking how the AI and ML technology that will be helpful for the small farmers like 1 acre land, 2 acre land for the small farmers, how that will be helpful, our AI and ML technology.
See, now I think
no, my question, sorry to interrupt, my question was not that. My question was that the small, the people who are having the small lands, okay, they are not, it means they are not having ample of amount of funding, okay, to access to these kind of AI and ML softwares. So, sir, on the ground root level, how it can be implemented effectively and efficiently? What can be the way forward to implement it?
See, now it's a question that relates with the economy of the country and economics of the country. Now, if you look at, let me say that number one, until unless the government gives subsidy to the small farmers, they cannot sustain. Whether it is IoT, whether it is production of agriculture, it's not possible. See, the technological support, when you talk of devices and tools that will help in this, one should have a capacity to buy and afford those. That's what your question relates to.
Yes, sir.
Whether AI, MI, it will not matter, right? AI, ML, whether you run a software for big land and a small land will not matter. But your question is right. In a country like ours, where the small farmers do not have to sustain, how do they afford this? One, either the government should give the subsidies. Second is either there should be a philanthropy, that what you call what you call corporate social responsibility, CRP. Money from
CSR,
the
yes, sir.
industry should be given to help the small farmers, and that the industry has to play a big role in the Western world. Like big businessmen, they also have this. Bill Gates ने इतना बड़ा all polio elimination or abhiyan campaign was run by Bill Gates Foundation. Why can't our country businessmen can support this? So until as you provide them fund, they could not be able to support use the technology, right? That's one. If not, government has to do that, because we are a welfare state. We are not a state like American capitalism. We are still a welfare state. And keep one thing in mind: the fight, if you look at, is not for small farmers. The entire fight of farming is for big farmers. Small farmer is still, even if the MSP, it will not be, the small farmer still is at the what you call margin. How to deal with that is a very difficult and a policy matter for a government, rather than the technology matter.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for giving me the answer. And I just want to tell you, sir, I am also from JNU Atal Bihari Vajpayee School of Management. I am a PhD scholar there only.
Okay, nice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me the answer.
हमने JNU जैसी बात कर दी ना, तो आपको सही लगा होगा.
जी सर जी. वो दिमाग में आ रहा था सर, because 90% of the farmers are having the land less than 2 acres. So how they can able to implement?
अब आप एजुकेशन सिस्टम को देख लीजिए ना. सॉरी टू से दिस. अब आप कहते हैं कि हमारा इनरोलमेंट रेशियो बढ़ गया है, एट द सेम टाइम पब्लिक एजुकेशन फंडिंग कम हो गई है, तो बढ़ा कैसे? मतलब इसको देखिए ना थोड़ी देर के लिए. आपने बढ़ाया तो रेशियो उधर बढ़ा दिया, लेकिन हुआ क्या उससे? एक छोटे लोग ही हायर एजुकेशन ज्यादा ले पा रहे हैं, नीचे लोग कम जा रहे हैं. देन यू आर एडजस्टिंग योर इनकम्स. गरीब आदमी भी अपना कुछ कहते हो खा न खा के अपने बेटे को पढ़ा रहा है कहीं ना कहीं. यही तो हो रहा ना बेसिकली. So this is how all things come. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was a wonderful session.
Any other question from any participant? Anybody who can ask question now?
Mr. Jitendra asked some question in the chat box.
Jiten sir's question is, how will 5G...
Yes, how will 5G change the wireline architecture that currently supports 4G mobile backhaul? Probably Jitendra is asking about the backbone network, right? Backhaul, where, see, keep one thing in mind. The backhaul network cannot be on wireless. It has to be on wireline, whether it is 4G, 5G, anything. And you will be surprised to know that 90% of the towers, cell phone towers in China is connected by fiber optical cable. Whereas only 20-30% or very low percentage of cell towers are connected by fiber optical cable in the country, India. And that's what we don't get a good service, because wireless channels are very slow. So backhaul has to be wireline, not wired. Number one, you have to keep any G which comes, it has to be on fiber optical cable. Now, only difference which is coming with the 5G and 4G is now in the backhaul network, in the wireline architecture, your switches and routers will be also going on virtualization and software defined radio. When I say virtualization, that means the process of a control plane where the control signal is being transmitted and the data signal is being translated. They will be run by a different virtual network router. This is what you call a slicing. This is what 5G is proposing. Would be different from the 4G. One. And second is also you need a very high quality routers. That's where the problem is coming. Right. So virtualization is one aspect which 5G will be different from 4G. Also, it may also use lot of cloud computing for its storage and other aspects. Otherwise, you cannot. It is not going to change anything in the backhaul wireline network as the 4G is. That's it.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Myself, Dr. Ajay Kumar.
Thank you so much, sir, for the response.
Thank you.
Sir, I am new on the field of sensor network.
Yeah.
That's why I asked the question. My question is that how to 5G network or 4G network are necessary to connect the wireless sensor network, or without the 5G or 4G network, we can also connect the wireless sensor network with the help of Wi-Fi or some other network, some other technology, means Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and some other. Or it is needed for 4G or 5G network. Any GSM network is needed for communication between the sensors.
No. See, keep one thing in mind, that if you have a sensors put at some place, number one, sensors are not going to use this 5G, 4G, right? The sensors will either use Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or Zigbee. These are the protocols which sensors are going to use, because at the if you have studied computer network at the medium access control level, we have to have some protocols like Wi-Fi and these. Now there are short range communication protocols. Why do you call short range? Because a sensor device cannot communicate to a longer distance. Why? Because it operates on battery. And once you transmit a signal, say assume one signal transmits 8 bits, if I put that way, then 8 bits, one signal transmission will consume some energy, right? Then other signal will consume some energy. So you are consuming the battery power while you are transmitting. Since it's running on the battery, we have to use it very efficiently. That means my signal must run on low power. इसको ज़्यादा power use नहीं करना चाहिए, एक बार में कम power use करना चाहिए. The moment you use lower power, the signal will not travel to a longer distance, because the power will keep on attenuating. At some distance, it will become zero, right? Attenuation to signal का होता है. So if you have only applied a low power, it will attenuate quickly. If you have applied high power, it will attenuate little longer time, so it will go little longer distance. Since sensors are running on the low power battery, it must use a lower power. When you use low power for transmission, it will travel to a smaller distance. When it travels to a smaller distance, then there must be another wireless device, sensor device. So those sensor device come दूरी पे होने चाहिए so that they can communicate.
Yes,
now,
sir.
number one, anything used on the sensor devices to communicate among themselves, there is no 5G, there is 4G, no 3G, only Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or Zigbee, right? Now, once these sensors have been communicating with themselves, if they want to send their data outside at certain distance, then you need something like 5G or something, right?
Yes, yes.
Then you should have a gateway there. That gateway will do 5G, and this gateway will connect it to your cell phone, and this gateway will connect it to the sensor network there. So sensor network send a gateway closer by them to a short distance, then gateway will use 5G and transmit data. That's how the 5G of using the sensor network transmit data from one sensor to another sensor, or sensor network to internet also. That's the way 5G, 4G, 3G are to be used.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I think Dr. Gayatri Sakhya, now please wind up the session.
Yes, ma'am.
It's time to.
Yes. So, thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful session. And we have gathered so many good things from this session, and we are going to definitely we are going to use it in our future projects and in our future papers and all. And now, sir, I request Mr. Ganesh to produce or to give the memento of honor to you, sir. So, Mr. Ganesh. Yes, sir. This is only we can give.
Thank
This
you.
is just a virtual
Thank you.
memento,
Thank you.
sir. We can give you,
Yeah.
and
Thank
thank you
you.
so much, sir. We are really you have graced this session with your wonderful lecture, sir.
Yeah.
And
Certificate also.
yeah, we,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
sir. We are
On
giving
Yeah.
Ganesh, please. Yes, sir. This is the certificate of
Thank
honor, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
we are just very, very thankful to you that you have joined our session and you have given the lecture, sir. So now,
Thank
sir.
you. Hope I have been successful to answer
Yes, sir.
to some
Yes,
extent
sir.
your
Yes,
questions.
sir. Yes, sir.
Though it is not the agriculture, IoT is not my area of expertise. But yes, I work on wireless sensor network and IoT and 5G to a certain extent. But relating with the agriculture was difficult. I try to do whether I have justified or not. But hope that it will help in the further sessions. That's
Yes,
what.
sir.
And thank you.
Sir,
Thank you
now
very
I
much.
request you to have a combined photograph with us, sir. So, participants,
Okay.
please
कुछ करना
switch
मुझे?
on your videos. All of you, I request all participants to switch on their videos. We'll have the photograph. Yes, switch on. Jiten, sir, kindly switch on your video. So, I'm taking the photograph. Smile, please. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night, sir. Thank you
Good
so
night,
much.
sir. Namaste, sir.
Okay.
Good night, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
night,
you.
sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you for all good questions.
Nice, sir.
Thank you.
For excellent presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so now, Mr. Ganesh, we should wind up.
Yes, ma'am. Stop. Okay, ma'am. Stop recording, madam.
Yes, I am just stop the recording. I'll just.
Thank you.